Okay, this is kind of exciting. We have some guests here they weren't actually invited, but they showed up, and I'm glad they're here. So I'd like to welcome Kevin McCarthy, who's the Speaker of the House of Representatives. Also, George Santos, who is probably one of the better known and more exciting members of the new freshman class. He's from Long Island. So welcome, Congressman. And then, as a kind of a surprise, we have the governor of Florida here. And his name is Ron D. Santos. And I did want to say, Governor, well, let me make no. It's an honor to have you here. I understand you may be the next president of the United States, and so we're grateful that you're here. However, and I know that as governor, you're entitled to go wherever you want in Florida and whenever you want, because you're the governor, right? But I was a little bit. I want to be diplomatic about this. I was a little shocked, maybe dismayed, to wake up this morning and find that you were in bed with my dog. Now, first place, I don't know how the hell both of you fit into his little bed, but you did, and you got to tell you, he came to me afterwards and he said, he says, I'm a Republican and I voted for Governor D. Santos, but he says, as you know, I'm supporting Donald Trump in this election, and so why is DeSantis sleeping in my bed? And I said, well, I don't know, but I wouldn't say anything to him about it because, he's very sensitive. He's kind of, I don't know how to say this because I don't want to embarrass anybody, but he's one of these woke people. And, if you say something about, being annoyed that a person of Latin descent, I don't know what it is, Spanish or Italian or something, is not welcome in your little bed in the morning, he might have his feelings hurt. So, and I know you're not overly sensitive sometimes. I've heard how you bark at me and other dogs. One thing I don't understand, why do you like cats? You don't like dogs, but you like cats. That just doesn't make sense to me, but we can have that discussion when we're not on national television. So, anyway, Governor, I just wanted to bring that up. In the future, if you just call and let us know that you're on your way, maybe we can arrange for a motel room or something for you. But enough of that. Enough of the pleasant. Oh, for crying out loud. George, stop kicking the Speaker of the House. I see you over there kicking him. Don't shake your head like, what am I talking about? I see you kicking him. I know he's pinching you. He does that every time you two get together. You know that. Well, okay. Mr. Speaker, would you mind moving to the other side of the table? And George does have a point. I mean, you pick on him all the time, and this business of pinching him, you think I don't see it, but I see everything. I'm extremely wise and knowing. And some might say all-knowing. That's why I'm El Magnifico. But I don't want to, this isn't about me. This is about you two. And it seems like you just can't seem to get along. And frankly, Mr. Speaker, I got to say, he's got a point. You are an instigator. And I would remind you that you have you're holding on to your majority by your little fingernails there, your little yellow fingernails. Not that there's anything wrong with having yellow fingernails or toenails. You have both. And why are you wearing a bathing suit? This is a formal meeting. I know I'm not wearing a tie because my ties don't fit me anymore. But a bathing suit to a meeting here with a congressman and a governor? It wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't a thong. I'm just kidding, folks out there. He's not wearing a thong. Trust me, I wouldn't still be here if he was wearing a thong. Oh my God, what a thought! Oh, okay, that's ruined this whole. I can't go on. I can't. All right, I'll go on for a little bit. So let me ask you something, Mr. Speaker. As long as you're here, I'm not quite sure I understand why you are saying that there's a a bifurcated or two-tier justice system, because they're prosecuting Donald Trump for stealing, and that's what he did. There's no doubt about that. And I even told him the other day when he called here, he stole not forget the classification. You know, I was with the Air Force. I had a secret classification, secret clearance rather, and I saw all kinds of classified material that shouldn't have been classified. On the other hand, I saw a lot of classified material, particularly in the nuclear area, that should have been classified. But it doesn't make any difference. No one is allowed to take information which relates to our military capabilities or our network of spies or anything like that. You're not allowed to take them home with you. I don't care who you are. Now, can the president take them with him when he's traveling? Well, yeah, because almost by definition, wherever the president is the White House. The White House is not a location. It's a way of defining the presidency. So when Biden goes overseas and they say, oh, there he is going off on another junket. Well, wherever he goes, he's in a plane where he has access to the nuclear weapons. He's got access to all of his people calling him and keeping him up to date on everything that's going on. He has the ability to make decisions. So when a president is not in the White House, he's still on duty. Kind of like we are with this Zoom technology, which is pretty amazing stuff. I do like it. So it's like, okay, so he stole. He actually, because once he's no longer president, he has no right to have anything anywhere that belongs to the government. And for him to say, oh, well, and he saw this thing on TV with him, well, these were in my, packed away with my clothes, my shirts, my shoes, my slacks. I'm surprised he didn't say, and my cars are in there too, and so is my motorcycle. Yeah. But that's not the criteria. And I couldn't believe all of the Republicans I heard on TV today after his latest interview with Bret Baier on Fox News, saying this guy just admitted to committing a felony. And he really did, because I heard him too. And he said, I didn't want those people getting a hold of my documents. Well, that's exactly what the statute requires happen, that they're not his documents. And Bill Barr has been all over this thing, and rightfully so. They're not his documents. They don't belong to him. They belong to the United States government. And the reason they're so insistent that it go to the archives isn't because, oh, these archives are Democrats, or we're Democrats, or the archives are Republicans. No, it's because that's where the government knows they're under lock and key, and the government knows what they are, and it knows where they are, and it knows who's seeing them. Once you allow people to take these kinds of documents home, you've lost control. It's not a question of whether you actually use them to jeopardize America's security. That's not the point. And the people who say it is are lying, because most of them are lawyers, like this guy who's an Air Force colonel in the reserves, retired Lindsey Graham, which makes me sick, because my dad was a colonel in JAG. He was the Judge Advocate General for Air Force Communications Service. He ran that whole worldwide office. And here this guy did nothing. His record is as bare as the shield of Mordred. And if you don't know what that is, go read Camelot. So he did nothing except except he was in the Senate. And the Air Force said, well, it's good to have a friend in the Senate. We'll just keep promoting this jerk. So they did. But anyway, he said that. Well, there's nothing in there which says that he showed these things to a foreign enemy. That's not the requirement. The requirement is the government needs to know where these documents are, so they can control them. They don't have to go chasing around for them all over the country and worry whether or not they're going to be in somebody's closet, and some friend of theirs from Russia is going to come over and wander around, see them, start taking photographs with his cell phone. So he admitted to doing that, and all these Republicans, even that guy that I can't stand from George Washington University, that professor there, his name, I forgot his name. It'll come back to me in a second. Anyway, they were all saying, basically, what are you thinking, Don? And I used to be a public defender, and that's why Trump called me the other day. It's like, what are you thinking? But he's out there because his legal strategy is he gets reelected, now he's president, and he can pardon himself. And I know him well enough to know that's exactly what he's thinking. So that is a real crime, and real people have gone to real jail for doing what Trump did. Okay, I'm going to say that again for those of you who are hard of hearing. Yeah, I know. Who am I to talk? Listen, will you just shut up down there, George? You know, you've been indicted yourself, so you're really not in any position to be making sarcastic and smart-ass remarks about anybody here, except possibly the Speaker of the House, who I see is pinching you again. What are you doing over on that side of the table? Get back over there and leave poor George alone. And incidentally, he's younger than you are and he's bigger than you are. And if he wasn't so wimpy, he'd probably slug you instead of just kicking you under the table. But I can't have that in this house. This is a house of ill repute. I mean, no, that's not what I meant to say. What did I mean to say? I don't know. It's some kind of a house. So, but we don't tolerate violence in this house unless it's my dog attacking anybody and everybody that walks in the door, including me. So stop that kind of stuff, okay? But, Mr. Speaker, I heard you out there comparing and contrasting the fact that they didn't bring any really serious charges against Hunter Biden, and they gave him a pass or whatever it was you called it. And you said, see, there's two tiers of justice. Here, poor Donald Trump gets federal charges brought against him for stealing national defense secrets. And that's all he did. That's no big deal. And yet that rotten Hunter Biden was late paying his taxes, and it looks like he's not even going to have any jail time. How can that be fair? Well, let's take a look at what happens to people who do what Hunter Biden did. What he did was he didn't pay taxes for, I think it was 2 years. Ran up a tax bill of around $1 million, something in that area. And then he came clean and he paid all of his taxes back and all the penalties and everything else. He's square with the IRS. Now, what normally happens in that situation? I know you people know what I'm talking about because the only people who watch this show are people who make well in excess of $1 million a year in income. And you watch this show because you feel sorry for me, also because you think I can be bought. Well, I can be, but I haven't gotten a lot of bids lately. So stop being so damn cheap, all you people watching this show, and start writing me some checks. And who knows, I might put in a good word for you. The fact that you go hunting and fishing with Supreme Court justices is nothing comparable to the influence you could have by sending a few bucks my way. It's just between us, okay? All right. So, anyway, Mr. McCarthy, let me ask you a question before we get further into the weeds on this thing. What is your ethnic heritage anyway? Because I got a lot of flack the other day because I said on one of my shows, and there's no one here to rein me in, so I just got almost as nutty as Donald Trump. And I said I didn't believe you were really Irish because of the way you behaved, and I suspected that you were Italian. And if you weren't Italian, it could be even worse. You could be Greek. Now, I got a lot of flack from Italians and Greeks about that, saying there is no way McCarthy is one of us. So I'm trying to think, well, okay, that may be true. I want to get to the bottom of this thing, so be square with us here, with all of us here, and including the one or two people who are watching. You're Japanese, right? Well, okay, we can talk about it later. Anyway, it's obvious to me that you're not really Irish. First place, you're sober. So, let's cut to the chase, and whatever your ethnicity is, you can tell me in private later, whisper it in my ear. I won't say anything to anybody until 3 minutes after you tell me. So, Hunter Biden, with people who do that, who don't pay their taxes, who get caught, or who turn themselves in, or whatever they do, what the IRS cares, they don't want to put these people in jail. They couldn't care less. You know what the IRS is all about? This stuff. Your green. They want your green in their vaults. And if they can threaten you with litigation, and that causes you to write that big check, they're almost as happy as I would be if you'd write me a big check. Well, don't take my word for it. Write me a big check and let's see. Didn't think that would work anyway. Okay, enough. I hate to sound bitter, but you could help a brother out here. Anyway, so people don't get charged criminally because they're late paying their taxes, even when they don't pay the taxes, even when they don't file a return, which I think is what happened there. As long as they come clean pretty quick and shell out the bucks, the IRS says, thanks, pal, welcome home. You're one of us now. That's just what they do. And, and I know all of you are in these brackets, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. And for the maybe one or two of you who aren't, well, just trust me on this, okay? So, and not that I would know personally, but I've had clients. Clients who've had some problems, if you know what I mean. And I'm not going to name them until later. So you might want to listen in. That's right. Donald. Anyway, enough of that nonsense. So, you got Hunter Biden, who did something which is not uncommon. He came square. He paid it all back. And when in the rare instances when they actually do bring charges, and it's usually because they had to do that to get paid. They didn't get, I don't know of any cases, not that there are some, where people paid and then got charged. They usually get charged and then they pay. And once they pay in full, then they're like, okay, we'll let bygones be bygones because we have better things to do with our time and larger fish to fry. So, Hunter Biden didn't get charged with any serious crime. In fact, he got charged with 2 misdemeanors, which is more than happens to 99% of the people who do exactly what he did. So so I want you to explain, Mr. McCarthy, how you came out and said it's a 2-tier system, because Hunter Biden is not facing felony charges for being late in paying his taxes, which he later paid in full, and Donald Trump did nothing except steal military secrets, and they're actually going to try to put him in jail like they do all the other people who steal military secrets. So that can't be fair. They either both have to be let go, or they both have to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, and they both have to be looking at the death penalty. I think that's what you said, and I'm not sure I understand your position. So you can tell me now, or you can... I just saw you punch him in the ear, Mr. Speaker. And now you're laughing and you two are pulling each other's ties? Why are you even wearing ties here? Who wears a tie with a bathing suit? All right. You know what? This is enough of this nonsense. My people... Okay, I don't have people. But if I did have people, they would have better things to do than to watch the two of you squabble down there, and you with an incoherent inability and refusal to answer my question. So I'm just going to have to terminate this. And I'm sorry, Governor. I meant to get to you tomorrow. Don't you have to go to a campaign in Texas or something? Or you have to? Yeah, you're supposed to go to New Mexico and pick up a busload of immigrants and take them to where were you taking them? To Springfield, Missouri. Well, anyway, they're waiting for you. They're carrying pictures with the signs with your picture on them, and I think all those illegal immigrants are endorsing you for president. So I wouldn't stick around tomorrow. But you know what? Call me. Okay? Have your people call my people. I don't know who my people are. Have your dog call my dog. Whatever. But please don't spend the night in my dog's bed again. It's hard enough on me. He's just a poor defenseless little dog. It's so sad. Yeah, I'm sad for you too. I know you don't have a place to sleep. I'm not calling your wife. That's your job. Listen, I'd love to continue chatting, but I really can't because something important is going on. Oh, yeah, they're trying to find those people in that submersible, which is really not funny. That is actually very tragic and sad. And it's like, why would you do that? I mean, they're down 2.5 miles. 2 miles. The pressure is 28,000 pounds per square inch. They just cracked that thing like an eggshell if it had any weakness in the metal. And metals are crystal. If you'd studied engineering, you would know that. They're a crystalline structure. And you put some disruption in there, use some weakness in there, and that stuff can just crack wide open. And we have 24, 25, something in that area, pounds per square inch. And that's at 2 miles. They're down 2.5 miles. Assuming they got all the way down, I think they did. Because the way they do it, they just drop like a rock. It's a rock. Dropping like a rock, it still takes them over 2 hours to get down there. That's pretty amazing technology. But, word of the wise. God doesn't want people in that area. He doesn't want them in that part of the world. He doesn't want them underwater in that part of he doesn't want them on the water in that part of the ocean. Stay away. He's trying to tell us something. Anyway, that's not a laughing matter. It's dead serious. It's tragedy. It's tragic for all those people, and I hope they're not suffering. So enough of that. I hate to end on a downbeat. but it's a sad situation. So, but we have other things going on that are good, and we'll talk about them at some future time. So take care. Thanks for watching, and bye, Governor. Bye. Oh, George left already. I'm sorry. Okay. Bye, Mr. Speaker. And where's my vase? I had an expensive vase. God, somebody go catch George, will you?